This is Lincoln Park in Chicago, which has somewhere around 20 million visitors a year, making it one of the most popular city parks in the country. It's a slice of paradise, but what some people don't know is that part of it used to be a cemetery. You can still see the couch tomb down on the southern end of the park, which is sort of creepy. So I found myself with three main questions. Number one, are there additional bodies buried in Lincoln Park? Number two, how many? And three, where? A photography professor at Northwestern named Pamela Bannos got curious about this too and did a very exhaustive amount of research on it. There's a lot to dig through on her website called Hidden Truths. I'd also walked past these little placards in the park a million times and never really bothered to read them. Turns out they're part of the same project. The abbreviated version of the history is that in 1843 they started tossing bodies in the cemetery, which was roughly between North and Armitage. But then around 1859, a doctor in town started raining on the parade, saying, maybe we shouldn't put rotting corpses right next to Lake Michigan. The government agreed, and as they started turning parts of the area into a park, in 1864 they said finally, no more bodies. Then the Civil War was going on, and they dumped a bunch of dead soldiers in there. Then the Chicago fire happened, but they did start moving the bodies elsewhere. So that should be that then, right? Turns out there were some weird inconsistencies with historical records. In September 1872, there was a Chicago Tribune article that said there were over 10,000 bodies left to go. Then, less than a month later, they were like, all right, we'll be done in about a week. They claimed they had a team of 10 people doing this, so that doesn't make any sense. So Pamela Bannos decided to go look at the facts and do some math herself, which, when you're dealing with stuff 150 plus years ago, especially when the entire city burned down in there, accuracy can be challenging. But the math said that there were about 35,000 bodies combined buried in the city cemetery and the Catholic cemetery, which extended south of North Ave down to Schiller Street. Then Bannos counted/estimated the bodies moved to other cemeteries, and her best guess was less than 23,000. For those keeping score at home, that means there may be around 12,000 bodies still buried around Lincoln Park. If that sounds far fetched, in 1998, when they were making the Chicago History Museum's parking garage, they found remains of what appeared to be over 80 different skeletons. And they found bones in the area of the old Catholic cemetery as recently as 2010, which may have been human. From what I can gather, it seems that the main reason all the bodies were removed is because they just didn't have a record of where they were all buried. Plus, there was some shoddy workmanship by a historian in the 1880s that claimed the cemetery was much smaller than it actually was. That still doesn't explain the Chicago Tribune article, though. As for the locations of these spooky skeletons, there's a map on this page that shows some of the most recent findings. So there you have it. Next time you're out in the yuppie playground of Lincoln Park, bring a shovel, because you might just find something cool. Thanks for watching.